welcome to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, I hope you enjoy the show. Well, I have the pleasure of having the Connecticut Ballet as well as the Hartford Symphony Orchestra being featured here today. And Brett Raphael, the artistic director of the Connecticut Ballet, and Maestro Carolyn Kwan of the Hartford Symphony Orchestra are both my guests today. And Brett and Carolyn, thank you both so much for being here today. We appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Brett, I was watching our interview that we did many months ago, and what I'd like to do with both of you is ask you the same question, but Brett, I'll let you start first. Why don't I'll let you introduce yourself to the viewer. Take us back into your background.
Okay. Well, I've been in the ballet world pretty much my entire life. Started at age 10, and I'm a dinosaur now in terms of dance. Years put in, 50 plus years, but still kicking. And I started at the School of American Ballet. As a matter of fact, I actually auditioned for George Balanchine, and he offered me a scholarship. At that time, the Ford Foundation had given him some funds to go all over the country and recruit boys, and I was one of those lucky boys. So that's when I got my start.
And was ballet the start for you, or have you been doing other types of dance as you've aged?
It's always been, the route has been ballet. I've certainly explored many other types of dance. As a choreographer, I want to incorporate contemporary work, ethnic work, you name it, dramatic, theatrical pieces. I've done many, many works over the years for the company and for other companies. But I started as a dancer, and I'm still teaching and coaching, and I think I'll continue to do that till the end.
And Carolyn, I'd like to ask you the same question. I'd like to introduce the guest to the viewer. So why don't you take some time and introduce yourself to us? Tell us about yourself.
Let's see. So I was born in Taipei, Taiwan. Let's see, my first love was actually the ballet as a child. I wanted to be a ballerina, but my father, in order to be a serious ballerina, you really have to start really early. And my teacher thought I had a lot of talent, actually, and was talking to my parents about having me come to America to study ballet. And I think I was 7 or 8. And my parents at the time basically said, not a good idea. So that was the end of that. But nevertheless, I studied ballet seriously, was really hoping to be a ballerina, but that didn't happen. But when I was 12 years old, so this would have been, 7th grade going to 8th grade, my middle school and my high school, or my to-be high school, my middle school in Taipei and my to-be high school in America called Northfield Mount Herman School, some of you might know it's in Massachusetts, were sister school for a few years. So I came to America to summer study. And basically it was 2 weeks of studying English and a week of going to Disneyland and other places. But I'll never forget the first day of class, the teacher said, feel free to ask questions. And to most of your viewers, that's probably a very normal questions that the teacher would say, feel free to ask questions. But for me, it was a huge light bulb moment because I was like, what do you mean I can ask questions? Because growing up in Taipei as a student, you really didn't ask questions, at least when I was growing up. So long story short, I secretly applied to the high school behind my parents' back, and I got in. And fortunately, my parents were actually supportive. Knowing how rebellious I was, they said, okay, you can go. So I came to America for high school at Northfield Mount Herman School. And then I later went to Smith College, and it was actually at Smith College I developed an interest in conducting. And for the longest time, really was just a thing I was curious about. I knew nothing about conducting, and I keep wanting to learn. My parents' hope for me was to go home after college to be an investment banker. But I keep saying, look, I can always be a banker, but I only have a few years to study music while I'm here in America. And so while I was at Smith, I got because I played the piano, I was put in front of the chorus to lead some sectional, and then the department thought it was a good idea. Maybe I actually learned some conducting. And so I learned some conducting, and then one of the alum was very encouraging and encouraged me to actually pursue, get a master's degree. And since I knew nothing about it, I thought, Dad, look, I'll go home and be a banker soon, but can I, go learn about this conducting thing? And then I won't have any regret in my life. I can go home and be a banker. So anyway, long story short, I got my master, and then I got another full scholarship at one of the best conducting school in the country, the Peabody Conservatory, to study conducting. And then while I was there, New York City Ballet was looking for at a program called the Artist in Residence for Conductor. So then I applied and actually became one of the artists in residence at the New York City Ballet. And so it was like a bit of a circle come true moment, dream come true, that my first job ever as a conductor was at the New York City Ballet, and did my very first Nutcracker there. And then I went on from there to North Carolina Symphony as assistant conductor, Seattle Symphony as assistant conductor, associate conductor. And 15 years ago, hard to believe it's been that long, I became the first female, first Asian, and the youngest music director of the Hartford Symphony. And then ever since, I've been conducting around the world. I literally just came back from San Francisco Opera for a huge, very successful world premiere of opera with San Francisco Opera. And then right after, Ali went back to New York City Ballet just last a week ago, again for the Nutcracker. So it's really amazing for me to be able to bring all that experience back to Connecticut and share it with our audience here.
When you discovered the Hartford Symphony Orchestra, how did they find you, and how has it been that you've been there for 15 years? Are you enjoying your time being with them?
Oh, it was an open search. They advertise, on the job search for conductor, and so we're looking for a conductor. And I think I applied along with, I think at the time it was 400 plus conductors. And it was a long process, and I'll never forget, American Idol was really popular at the time. So the orchestra at the time thought they would have this very open search, which is not done as much, thank God, because there was a whole website dedicated to people being able to comment on each one of the conductor after each show. And so it was not just, there was the critics and there's the committee, but there was also, if you wanted to, you can see everybody's comment on this website. And I was the one that was ultimately the one that got the job, I suppose. And it's been a joy for the last 15 years being able to do different things with the orchestra and try to be an integral part of the community.
And Brett, one of the main reasons why you and Carolyn are here today is that you'd like to announce that you're doing the Nutcracker together. Tell us about that.
Yes, it's very exciting. And for all the reasons Carolyn laid out, it's very exciting to have her conducting for us, because she, at root, is a dancer and always will be, and has this wealth of experience with New York City Ballet. And it was George Balanchine who pretty much put the Nutcracker on the map in our country. Although San Francisco Ballet did it first, New York City Ballet's production is the standard now. Back in 1954, I think they did a nationwide broadcast, which really put it on the map. And so it's, like you said, a full circle. And now we're able to share that with the Hartford community. It's been 20 years since live music has been a part of Hartford's Nutcracker at the Bushnell. So this is a big comeback. We're the comeback kids. And we're really excited.
For the viewer that's listening, tell us where it will be and what your dates are.
Yes, we are this coming weekend, December 20 and 21, and we have 4 shows. The shows in Stamford have already taken place with recorded music. So it's a big change for the dancers too. They've been rehearsing to recorded music, and now we're excited. Our ears are really going to perk up and our bodies are going to perk up and respond to that incredible sound with the orchestra. And it's a full orchestra. It's not a reduction, which is very particularly exciting. Viewers may not realize that many of the pit orchestras for Nutcracker are reduced. Only New York City Ballet and other bigger ballet companies have this 57 to 59 players in the pit, and even some have boy choirs for certain sections. So it's coming back on a very high level, and I encourage people to come and see it at the Bushnell. We have 4 shows, and you can go to bushnell.org to find out.
Okay, Brett and Carolyn, we're going to take a moment and take a break. I'm Deborah Gilbert. You're tuned into Arts and Entertainment. We are going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
If you don't wear your seatbelt in every seat, every trip, you're not a passenger. You're a projectile. Don't just buckle up. Buckle everyone. A message from the Connecticut Department of Transportation.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
And welcome back to Arts and Entertainment. I'm Deborah Gilbert, your host, and as always, it's so great to have you. And as always, I hope you're enjoying the show. Carolyn, what I wanted to ask you, kind of piggybacking, if you will, with what Brett just mentioned, how is it for the Hartford Symphony Orchestra to be playing in the Nutcracker with the Connecticut Ballet?
Oh, I mean, people still talk about it. I mean, many of our musicians have been, I used to joke that there are musicians in the orchestra who have been in the orchestra longer than I have been alive. So many of our musicians remember when they used to play in the pit for the Nutcracker back in the days, as Brent said, probably 20 years ago, before my time. I mean, the orchestra also used to play for the opera. So for the orchestra and the musician, it's something that has always been very dear to their heart. And we're all very excited that that could happen again. And the music of Tchaikovsky, there's something to be said about Tchaikovsky's score that is absolutely stunning, wonderful, because if it's not that, it can't possibly stand every year, every orchestra, all the orchestra and ballet company playing this 40, 50 times a year. I think New York City Ballet does 50 shows a year, possibly more, or along that line. So the score is something, of course, it has a lot of melodies that people know from just everyday life. But there are also music that, for the people that have never seen Nutcracker, I mean, the whole Act 1 of Nutcracker, I sometimes joke that it's almost like a symphony. It's very symphonic. It's just great music. In fact, I just did just the Act 1 of Nutcracker with the Chicago Symphony 2 summers ago. So this is a score that is just wonderful fun to play, wonderful to hear, and when you add the ballet to it, there's nothing better.
Brett, what I'd like to ask you is the website, connecticutballet.org. What will the viewer find when they visit it?
Interesting background about our company, other programs we do throughout the year, and upcoming shows, including what we call Be My Valentine, which is a February 14th event for everyone to celebrate love in its many forms. We'll be back in the spring at the Bushnell with another full-length ballet, which is going to be in May. And in the summer, we do our ballet Under the Stars. And it would be great, Carolyn, hint, hint, to get some live music with that as well. for the outdoor shows at Elizabeth Park. I'd love to see that restored.
And also, Brett, for the individual that would like to participate in your ballet company, how would somebody be able to audition for you for that?
Good point. We actually have local auditions for children in the production. So we have the Hartford cast of children, and that's an important ingredient. They're children who are having their first ever experience on stage, whether they're 4 to 14 or 18, depending on the skill sets. And then actual professional dancers or apprentices, they would be invited to come and take class with us. And I would have a look at them and maybe invite them to spend a week with us. I'm the kind of director, I really want to see who's smiling at the end of the day. Want to get to know them as people. We're really a family, and we work very hard together and through thick and thin, and we make art. So you want those special people who are just meant to be a part of our society of dancers and also support system. We're talking board of directors, patrons, ballet mistresses, wardrobe people. It's quite a crew. We have 149 children in the production, just to give you a sense of the scale. It's big. And all those parents and grandparents, and aunts and uncles will be coming to see. And for some of them, this may be their first experience of hearing live music at the Bushnell, which is really, really exciting. So there's a lot of cross-pollination we're hoping for with our audiences and our participating children and families. Maybe some future dancers and future conductors.
And Carolyn, let me also ask you the question. I probably might have some musicians that would like to play with your orchestra. How would they be able to present themselves to you? Audition? What would you suggest?
So the hartfordsymphony.org has a lot of information. Of course, it has, if we ever have a position that's open, I mean, it's a professional orchestra, so the competition's fierce. Every position we have open, people from nationally, internationally, people audition, and it's a process, but there are always position open, and we always welcome people to join us. And in terms of, but the website has a lot of information. It has information about potential to join us, but of course it also has information on all of our concerts. After the Nutcracker in February, we have a Romeo and Juliet theatric production. There's actually going to be sword fights on stage. And of course, we have the standard music. We're actually doing, at the last concert, we're actually doing a Martha Graham film of Rite of Spring, actually. So we're showing the film of an old Martha Graham Rite of Spring production, and then actually supporting you, and then playing the music to it, just very much like some of our movie concert where we play Harry Potter and then have live music supporting it. So we also have a summer program. So there are a lot of information on the website, education program, chamber music, concerts. So I encourage, if people don't know the Hartford Symphony, please definitely go on the website and check out the organization.
And Carolyn, also for the individual that is pursuing being a conductor or who would like to become a conductor, what would your advice be as to how to get started?
Oh gosh, there's so many different ways on this path. Some people start by playing instruments, some people apply to schools. There are conducting programs all over the country, internationally. There are people who are pianists that they go to Europe first. They become, what they call a repertoire to the opera company, repetier, and there's just a lot of different ways one can go about it. I think in this day and age, you have to go wherever a window is opened and see, where opportunity presents itself. But most importantly, I think be a good musician, live life. Gosh, because ultimately music is about, life and the world we live in. And the more experience you have, the better musician you are. Probably the same as dance in some ways, right, Brent?
Yeah, and the Nutcracker is encapsulates so much of that, from childhood experience to the old world, Europe, the sense of that. And Tchaikovsky has brought all of these cultures together with Act Two, the divertissement. It's quite a variety show and a brilliant piece.
Brett,
People think of the ballet as very staid and old stories, but this one never gets old. So it's a great opportunity for people to bring their children for the first time to see a ballet. That's the one to go to. And for the little wiggly ones, just come for Act Two.
Brett, and then Carolyn, your thoughts. Is the Nutcracker just something that happens at Christmas time?
Actually, in Europe, it's a mainstay. It's considered just a repertory piece. You can see Nutcracker in July in Europe. It's one of many ballets they program throughout the year, and they also do it at the holidays with some companies. But in America, it's strictly a holiday event. I think if we tried to do it in May, it wouldn't quite fly. There's something about this time of year, and frankly, we all need a lift right now. The world is tough. We're going through a tough patch. So this is a time to uplift and be together and feel the warmth of that, and the dancers and the musicians joining together to bring forth something so beautiful and evocative. So we're really excited.
Brett, I wanted to ask you also, which I had seen in our interview, you had mentioned artistic director as your title. What are some of your responsibilities that come along with that title?
Well, it dovetails what Carolyn said. We audition dancers, we plan our seasons, what is the repertoire, what are the visiting artists, the new choreography we want to feature. And I also work with our educational programs. And I want to say that we have something called ballet ambassadors. So large numbers of community groups will be seeing the ballet thanks to donors who have underwritten their tickets this time. And so we're making a welcome mat to folks who normally in the past have been marginalized. I mean, if you go back 20 years and 25 years, I have to say that it was a very white, Caucasian experience for upper middle class people. And this audience today is completely diverse, and it's flipped, and we're so excited about it. We have folks coming from the Mount Olive Baptist Church, from the Village for Children and Families, from the retreat. Seniors are coming from Bloomfield by bus and van. It's going to be so exciting to see everyone gather and enjoy.
And Carolyn, the Hartford Symphony Orchestra, where is that located? I think that people would like to know where that is.
Well, Hartford Symphony is located in Hartford.
Does it have its own
the Personal Performance Arts Center, but we also play concerts all around Hartford in various different venues. In the summer, we're in Simsbury, but for the most part, we're in Hartford. The organization is based in Hartford.
Okay, and are you involved in planning the season? What does 26 look like?
So the Hartford Symphony, so as a music director, I am certainly involved with the planning of the season, especially what we call the masterwork. So that's our main program. And the 26-27 season will be announced in a few months. And so that's always, it's a process that we want to include a lot of people because as Brent said, it's very much about serving the community for me. I deeply believe that arts organization can make a difference in the community, and we become relevant when we connect with the community. So a lot of our programming, we try to ask questions, what does our community need? So it's kind of a back and forth about and there are a lot of people we're trying to serve, right? Because there's the community, but there is also the musician. We have a wonderful board. There are a lot of people in the area, So you try to ask the question also, the ever-changing world, what does the world need? So as a musician, those are the questions that I'm always asking, how can we try to make a difference and try to reflect that in the programming, either directly or indirectly. So it's a process I enjoy, and it's always very rewarding when you feel like you've made a small difference.
Well, I want to say that we have run out of time, but I want to thank you both so much for being here, and amazing success with the Nutcracker. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Well, I'm Deborah Gilbert. You've been tuned in to Arts and Entertainment. In case you need to reach me, I'm at artsandentertainment@mail.com. Well, I hope you have a super day today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. I'll see you next time.